Hi, welcome back to Finally Revealed in episode number 24 of Be the Change. In this episode, I want to talk about psychological blocks and barriers that you may encounter either when you're starting on a change or once you get started, places where you get stuck, or some people, it's just a way of being. When I talk about psychological barriers, I mean that self-talk that you say to yourself. Sometimes you only think it. Sometimes you relay it to others, such as when someone says, hey, what about that old car you were going to refinish? Or that cabinet you took apart? Are you going to ever put that back together? Or that great American novel, are you writing it yet? And people will come out with, well, it's not the right time. I can't do it because fill in the blank. I am not ready yet. I don't know how to, or it might be just a limiting belief that you have that only certain kinds of people can do certain things or try different things. And it may be because you've never tried before and you're nervous. Whatever the reason, oftentimes the reason people don't get started on something or quit is because they have this self-talk that when coupled with a stumbling block or a situation or a challenge, it's easier to back off. It's easier to say that, make yourself feel better, and it happens to everyone at some point. Some people get over it, and the more often you can get over it, the less often this particular obstacle that, remember, you created for yourself will stop you. Everyone has free will. You have free will to make choices, and what you think and what you believe is included in that. A belief is just a thought that you keep thinking over and over and over. So if you want to not think that or say that anymore, then you need to get off of that bus and stop it. A wound is not going to heal if you keep picking at it. And because a belief is something you keep thinking, the more you think it, the stronger that belief is, and it's becomes something that you really hang on to. We're seeing a lot of that in our society right now, people hanging on to the way it used to be. These people possibly could have been complaining every day of their life, but right now that's comforting to them, that at least they had something they could complain about that they knew. And the fear of the unknown is common. So if you are in that situation where you were getting ready to start, you had an idea, you're with us on making a change early on, but now everything's got you kind of, wait a minute, what's happening here? And you're grabbing for things that make you feel secure. Look at that yourself. Are you really secure? Whatever you're grabbing at, it's not there right now. If it's your job that you're not going to, it's not there right now. It might not come back. But if it does come back, you could possibly have a choice. And wouldn't it be nice to have a choice of what you're doing now or new possibilities or that other job? You are back in the driver's seat. How much more comforting is that? One of the things I learned when I went out into my own business was that I now had lots of clients, and whereas my old boss could have fired me on any given day, all of my different clients were not going, unless something terrible happened, we're not going to all be firing me on the same day. You can look at it the same way as far as what are you going to next after this quarantine situation is over. Do you want to go back to where you were? Do you want to go forward with the change you've already started or tweak it a little bit? Or do you want to add in another new idea? Make choices for yourself and build now. You can sit around and look at the TV and wait and drum your fingers on the table, or you can get busy and strike out. There's no fear of failure when there's nobody around. A lot of times when we're looking out to what is somebody else going to think about it, we're putting too much emphasis on what somebody else thinks. What somebody else thinks about you is true. It's none of your business. Whether you think you can or you think you can't is what's going to control. It's all within you, and you have the power over you. One way to look at it is if you keep coming up with these excuses or saying the same excuses all over again, well, why are you even making the excuses? Just walk away from whatever it is that that you were making excuses about. If you're really not interested in doing it, that's okay too. So the next time somebody says, what about that old car that you were going to refinish? You can say, you know what? I thought I wanted to do it. I changed my mind. Let's sell it. Maybe I can give it to one of my friends. I can partner with somebody. They can fix it up and then we can sell it together. I can sell it for parts. I can, put it out and have somebody come and buy it. Let go. And think about it in that way. If there's something that you're delaying that you've said that you wanted, but it's not happening, and it's not happening because you are blocking it, why are you blocking it? What is this whole thing going on here? Just let it go and then do something. That might be the easiest thing I can tell right now, is just let it go. If you're continually making excuses for something, if you wanted to do it, you would do it. So just own up to it and say, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. That was then, this is now. Let's resolve that situation, free yourself, take that load of bricks off of your shoulders and move on. But if you do want to do this, if it is still a dream, and one thing that I look at is, one of the things I use to kind of decide is, well, and there are things that I have on my list of things that I want to do, and I need to pick and choose from them and figure out how are they going to get done. And if I'm not going to get them done, who can I enlist to do it, or how can I help make that happen for the world through someone else? And how I do this is, what are the things that you're thinking about doing? Maybe it's an invention, maybe it's a new way for something, maybe it's just taking what you know and starting your own business, maybe it's going into business with someone else, maybe it is closing your own business and going to work for someone else. And I'm focusing here on jobs because that seems to be a pretty big theme, and a lot of what we think about changing is driven by how we care for our family and how we spend most of our time. And a lot of us spend a lot of our time creating or doing work or projects, and it fulfills us, so it's a big part of our life. You could be looking at your change as far as moving somewhere else. Maybe now that you're in quarantine, you don't like being this far away from family, or you don't like where you live. You enjoy going to your job, or maybe your job is traveling a lot, and now you're stuck in one place that when you look around, you don't really spend a lot of time in that place, and you prefer being on the road because you like the places you go to. Maybe you want to move there. Figure out a plan and get going. So my way of thinking about what do I really want is, if someone else were to do that project tomorrow, how would I feel? Would I feel, oh darn, that was my idea and that was something that I was excited about? Well, are you going to do it or not? And that's how I pose it back to myself. And that's, do you really want it? What do you want? Do you want to do this change, or do you want to complain about not doing it or that project? So own up to it to yourself first and let yourself off the hook. So that's the first one. Now, if we want to go forward and we do want to do this, we're nervous about it, we're uncertain, that's okay. But we're making these excuses. So first thing you have to do is stop building that wall. Okay, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. It's not going to happen in one day. I mean, if you have super willpower and you can turn and go in another direction, full speed ahead, that would be effective. It's not always realistic, because then you might hit another problem and then revert back, because you'll be pulled back like a rubber band because it's comfortable. Remember, you're doing something repeatedly because you're getting something out of it. So it's some place that gives you some type of comfort. So if you want to build a bridge from here to there, step off that side and step over onto where you're going. Recognize whether or not you're a glass half full or half empty kind of person. Does this fit into any of this thinking anywhere? Is your conditioned mind because of other people around you? For example, right now, health is a big issue because we're quarantined because of a virus. So health is out there. People, you can see it. People are afraid to go outside now. Some people have been inside so long, they're afraid. Concern, protective, fine, but afraid and fear. So some people, I don't know, they think that they're going to get it and this is never going to end. There are other people, forget about the virus and the quarantine, there are other people who look at people of a certain age and expect that they're going to be on some kind of drug, that their body is going to deteriorate, that it's just the way it is. And then they'll see someone that they meet and they find out that person is older than they are and in way better shape. Well, they're just an exception. It's because of what they've been looking at around them. They've been trained after a certain age, you're going to get all these bad things. They've been trained that way. Are your thoughts and your beliefs about what you can or can't do because somebody else trained you into that? Or did it come from your own experience? If it came from your own experience, you can find a different way and learn from that experience. If it came completely from outside, why are you taking that on as your coat? Take that coat off. It doesn't belong to you. And start recognizing, what do you really want? What do you really believe? And so if you are going to pursue what you think you want or this change, and you do have these limiting beliefs and these blocks, let's build a bridge. Step away from what you're saying. Recognize what those excuses are. You don't have to tell all of us, but you can write them down. You can think about that for yourself. What do I say? What are the things in my head that I'm telling myself as to why this can't happen or why I shouldn't even try? Recognize what those are. Is the idea too big for you? Would it be better if you could do a smaller piece? Does that seem less scary? Some people don't want to go into a gym because they feel like they should have a perfect body to walk into a gym like everyone else they think is at the gym. Well, everyone else didn't start out looking the way they do now. It takes discipline and action over time and some effort. So if you think that you want to build this great big project, it's possible that you can, but you're going to have to break it into pieces anyway. If you're new and you want to go back, I have some videos on building blocks on how to do that. But if that takes the fear out of you and some of your excuses and your psychological blocks away from you, use that. When you are worried or concerned, oh, I can't finish this or it's messed up, you're just on your journey, on your way. Look at what your first step is and where you are. And if you come upon one of those places where you want to give up, stop a minute, examine it, and take a turn. You can say to yourself, what if I can't do it? But what if you can do it? What if you can do it? You're just trying. There's no pressure. No one is waiting for some great big production. You are doing this on your own time. You're doing this because you want to. This pause period can be great for this if we use it the right way. And the right way is however it makes you happy and benefits you. I'm just doing this for right now. If that makes you feel better and brings you away from the ledge of the pressure, maybe you have fear of failure. You think everything has to be perfect because you have always lived a certain structured life. And now this whole situation is making you rethink that. You're enjoying spending time with your family. You're enjoying walking your dog. Or you realize you spend a lot of time at work and now you're more on your own. And you know what? You enjoy being around people more. So you want to be able to take advantage of that when this quarantine is lifted. Tell yourself you're just doing it for right now because it's true and it will help you get through some of these blocks. It can be really exhausting trying to meet other people's expectations. Try to set some expectations for you. What do you want? How do you want it to be? What makes you happy? Meet those expectations first. Forget about everybody else. You may even be on a life journey with a partner, a spouse, a family, but each individual person still owns their own life. You have your own life and you have a right to be happy. And everyone else will adjust, especially if they can see you're happy. You'll help them also find what makes them happy. Maybe they already are. You know what? Maybe you already are too. You just want to try something different. Great. We're all alive as long as we're alive, and there's no reason we have to sit in this box during this period of time and wait for the clock like prisoners. Even if you live in a very populated area and you have to really stay within your 4 walls or 8 walls or however many walls you have where you live, you can move from room to room. You can bring your schedule in there. You can go online. You can get information. You can call people. You can email people. You can text people. We are all still connected. We are all still here. And so if you want to get busy, you can get busy. Take away those expectations of other people. Take those off of you. They're busy with themselves. If there's ever a time, you can now look and say, well, they're in their own 4 walls or 8 walls. They're focused on themselves or their television or their phone. You're free. Get busy. Your boss might not be coming down the hall. You might be the boss. Maybe that's something you do or don't want to get away from. So you have that choice. Every person has the right to be happy, and you have free will on how it comes about. I like biographies and different stories about people, and maybe you do too, and those are good resources to kind of get information on other people's stories. We don't remember, or I don't even know a story of a real overnight success. It's all about the journey, and people talk about their failures and they laugh about them. Can you laugh at yourself? Do you allow yourself to laugh at yourself? Think back at some of your funniest times with friends or family or on your own. What was going on? Things were probably not happening perfectly. And that is really how you build the character in your life and the good stories and the times that you can look back on and laugh. That's where you are now. That's where you are right now. This time is not coming back again. So use it to make yourself happy. Now, if you do like stories about other people, and if it does help you get your creative juices or get your courage up or help you get rid of some of these psychological blocks, go to thebigbrass.com. It's a website that I have where I help with business people. It can help with all different things though, and the reason I'm sending you there is there was a radio show that I did last summer, and we recorded it and we saved it as a podcast. That's one of my things on the list, is to reactivate the podcast. And so we saved those prior episodes. There's men and women in a variety of different situations, different life situations, and they tell their story. And they're wonderful people that I am so honored to know and have met. And just hearing them talk, it can really kind of, help you see where you are. We're all just figuring it out, and today is what we have. So I hope this was helpful to you. If it was, give me a thumbs up. Leave any comments or questions below. Check out the other videos in the Be the Change playlist. Subscribe to see our other videos when they come out, and come back and see me next time. Thanks for watching.